Om Shanti, good morning. Today is 30th of January and Avyakt Murli. Baba's taking up the word awareness, smruti. And everything is in that one word. Or sometimes you say in English, do you get it? Did you get it? Did you understand what this is? And most people don't. But yet, ask yourself this question. What does it mean to be aware? And what are you aware of? And can you remain aware when your perception is mostly overloaded with sense perception? But to be aware of something which you can't be aware of with sense perception. And this is the preparation for the last exam, which is called the exam of 1 second. And many things will happen in that 1 second. And 1 second can be quite long. Time stands still at that time, even though it's 1 second. So this is originally spoken on the 2nd of January of 1990. And the title is The Essence of This Whole Knowledge is Awareness. Today, the powerful Father is seeing his all-powerful children from everywhere. Now ask yourself, what does it mean to be powerful in the context of being aware? Each powerful child is moving forward according to your own power. What is the basis of this powerful life? That is, what is the basis of this happy, elevated, alokik life that is filled with success? So what Baba is saying is powerful, happy, elevated, and alokik are all synonymous. Powerful, elevated, happy, alokik. It's all one thing. And that is what's called success. So the basis is one word, awareness. The whole drama is about forgetting and remembering. At this time, the game of remembering is taking place. When you're under threat, remember you're imperishable and immortal. When you're bored, remember time is short. Don't forget who you are. On what basis did Bap Dada transform you Brahmin souls? He simply reminded you that each of you is a soul, not a body. Then this awareness brought about so much alokik transformation. So think about the meaning of the word alokik. So alokik means not according to the world. So if you think of transformation according to the world, then you're trying to change your sanskaras and stuff like that, which is very worldly. But alokik transformation means switch your consciousness from worldly to beyond the world. So everything changed, didn't it, when you understood I'm a soul, not a body. The speciality of human life is awareness. Animals cannot have this awareness. Awareness of yourself as a spiritual being. The seed of awareness, the seed is awareness. For with this seed, your attitude means perspective, vision, it means perception, actions, and stage. Stage means what you think you are, who you think you are. So all that changes. Your perspective, your perception, your sense of self, and what you do all changes. This is why it is said, as is your awareness, so is your stage. So awareness means smruti, and stage is that how you hold yourself inside vis-a-vis what's going on outside. That's your stage. The Father transformed the foundation, your awareness. When the foundation became elevated, your whole life automatically became elevated. He transformed such a small thing. You are not a body, you are a soul. You're not your culture, you're not your gender, you're not your nationality, you're not how people project on you. You're something totally different. As soon as this transformation took place, as soon as you had this awareness, you became powerful because you souls are master almighty authorities, means Sarva Shaktivan. That means you have all the 8 powers and you have the authority of knowledge. And all the time people are projecting on you and diminishing you by that projection, right? How people see you, you become, because it's very forceful. And being Master Almighty Authority means you cause that projection to evaporate so that it cannot stick on you. Race, gender, religion, position in society, all that is projection, and you vaporize it. Can you do that? This powerful life now feels so good, so lovely, means you can love yourself when you're free from projection. You yourselves have become the forms of awareness, and you also remind others of this and completely transform them from what they were. It means when you see someone as they truly are, they become that. It's a different kind of projection. With this awareness, you changed your world. This world of God is so lovely. Lovely means loving. English changes. Baba uses the word lovely, but we would say loving. Even if you are living with worldly souls, means people who are in the consciousness of being in their limitations, you're living with this kind of soul for the sake of doing service. Your mind is always in the alokik world. You're not limited by your circumstances. Whether it's lokik or center or anything, it's still a limitation. So you're beyond those limitations. This is known as being the embodiment or the form of remembrance. You don't forget who you are. You don't forget what you are. You don't forget your purpose. No matter what situation arises, what does a powerful soul, an embodiment of remembrance, consider it to be? It's a game. You have this expression, it's all in the game. There's another expression, it's all in the mind. It's about the same thing. You don't take it seriously. It's a game. Such a soul will never be afraid. For powerful souls, no matter how big or how threatening a situation is, you consider all this to be just side scenes on the path to reach the destination. That is, there are scenes along the way. You're traveling, you're in a train, you see these things passing by. So you enjoy the side scenes, don't you? You even go and spend money to see side scenes and tourist attractions. Nowadays, people go sightseeing here in Abu also. If there are no side scenes on a particular path, would you like that path? If you're traveling, you want to see beautiful scenery, right? You would get bored. Similarly, for souls who are the embodiments of remembrance and the embodiments of power, the form of remembrance, a form of power, you may call them situations, test papers, obstacles, or problems, but they are side scenes. You are aware that you passed by these side scenes on your way to your destination countless times. This is nothing new. And what is the foundation of this? Awareness. You really be conscious that you're invincible, unthreatenable. If this awareness is lost and your foundation shakes, the whole building of your life begins to shake. You start saying, if then, if this is there, then what is that? If someone is like this, then what will happen? This if then, you have to avoid it. So you are unshakable, are you not? The basis of all four subjects in this entire study is awareness. And the most important subject is remembrance, yoga. Remembrance means the awareness of who am I, And who is the Father? You remember Daddy Genki's 3 Om Shantis? Who am I? Who do I belong to? And what do I have to do? These are her 3 Om Shantis. You remember that? So who am I? Who is the Father? This is yoga. The second subject is knowledge. You have received the knowledge of the Creator and the creation. And the foundation of that is also Baba reminding you of what you are eternally and originally, and what you are at the present moment. So at the present moment, you are Brahmins who are to become angels, who are then to become deities. So you remember the 5 forms? So 3 of those forms is Brahman, followed by angel, followed by deity. So, and in between there is the point. So nobody is an angel now. Angel is when you are in your subtle body, in the subtle region after this Brahmin life, like Avyakt. And you practice that stage. And then that makes you easily able to be a deity when you reincarnate. You have also been reminded of so many other types of awareness. Your titles are also different kinds of awareness. So that is all the awareness of knowledge, isn't it? You know who you are, right? Oh no, you know? It's difficult to remain in the consciousness of who you are under continuous bombardment of projection. But do it anyway. The third subject is that of divine virtues. You have also been reminded that the divine virtues are the virtues of you Brahmins. So don't think of virtues in a religious sense, because that's very limiting. Think about what would be the difference of thinking of yourself in terms of your virtues religiously or non-religiously. And the main difference is that when you think of it in religious terms, you become aware that you don't have those virtues. And when you think of it in a non-religious sense, you aspire to it and you get it. Do you understand? Yeah, because when you think of it in religious terms, somebody will always let you know that you don't have that virtue. In the religious environment is like that. And it makes you feel guilty, sinful, less than, it diminishes you, this type of thing. So we have to actually come out of religious consciousness because it keeps you down. And this is a contrast between religious consciousness and spiritual consciousness. Religious people will always tell you you have a lot of ego, whether you do or not, but they will, do that. And if you're a religious type, you will accept it. But if you are thinking about yourself spiritually, then you're not under the influence of people's opinion about you, but you're really checking with your conscience. What am I? And how is God looking at me? So you have also been reminded that the divine virtues are the virtues of you Brahmins. Because you have the list of virtues in your awareness, you're able to use them at the appropriate time. Another contrast is when you're looking at it spiritually, you're saying, these are gifts of God to me, therefore I have them. In a religious consciousness, it's, this is what I have to have, I should get. It's different. You don't think of it as your property that you've already got, and all you have to do is use it, express it. So, because you have the list of virtues in your awareness, you can use them at the appropriate time. What would be the result if this awareness is lacking? You would not be able to use the virtue at a time of need. The religious angle will expropriate you of your virtues. You don't want to be expropriated, right? Expropriated means what is yours is taken away. That's expropriation. So you are reminded of it after the time has passed. I did not want to do this, but it happened. But I will not do it in the future. No, you don't want to be in that situation. So in order to put the divine virtues into practice, you need to have the awareness at that time. I am this, I have this, I express this. You're in your power, and it will work very well. Sometimes you laugh at yourself because of some things. When you forget something or some object, then what is your state at that time? You lose something or you can't find something. You're confused, right? You have that item, you know you have it, but you don't remember it when you need it. And so you become confused. In the same way here too, because you don't remember it when you need it, you sometimes become confused. So a mentality is projected on you, which is not according to what you are and what virtues you have. You come under that influence and forget everything. So this is the practice. So what is the basis of having divine virtues? To be a constant embodiment of remembrance. The divine virtues will then be constantly, naturally, and easily used in every action. The fourth subject is service. If while serving, you're not an embodiment of remembrance or of being a soul who is an instrument and a world benefactor, you cannot be successful in doing service. Then you are not able to make any soul an embodiment of remembrance when you serve them. You have to really be in your power to inspire someone to be in their power. Doing service is to remind others of the self and the Father. So the foundation of all four subjects is awareness, isn't it? So this one word, awareness, is the essence of all knowledge. This is why Bap Dada had told you beforehand what the question of the last paper will be. You remember the question? He says, it will not be a long, complex paper. It will be a paper of only one question, and the time for the paper is 1 second. One question, 1 second. And what will that question be? Of being a conqueror of attachment and an embodiment of remembrance. So you have 1 second to let go and go. Maybe a big earthquake. San Francisco's a good place for that. Big earthquake, let go, go. Can you do that? You will have little exams to get ready. What are you attached to? People, position, money, reputation, buildings, children, animals, your body. Let go, go. And Baba said that when, no, not in this Murli, but in another Murli, during that 1 second, you will be attacked by all 5 vices simultaneously, all 5 elements of matter simultaneously, and ghosts. So, in that environment, let go and go. Can you do that? So, all these side scenes are practiced. All these problems. So you have already heard the question, and so you should all pass. Will all of you pass with number 1, or will you pass number wise? So you may have to do that with mental, emotional, and spiritual pain. And can you do it in pain? This is not so easy, Raj Yoga, you know. With which number will double foreigners pass? Number 1. So should the rosary be completed, or should a separate rosary be created? You have very good enthusiasm. The double foreigners have a special chance to be last who come fast. You have this margin. If a special rosary is prepared, you would have to live where the picnic places are. So a special rosary means separate from the main rosary. So then you won't live in Paristan, but on some island in heaven. Not too bad, but if you prefer that, should a separate rosary be made? There is a margin for you to come in the rosary. You will come. Acha. All of you teachers are embodiments of remembrance, aren't you? On the form of remembrance. You are embodiments of remembrance in all 4 subjects. You don't have to labor, do you? A teacher means to make others into the form of remembrance, with your features as the form of remembrance. Remind others with your features. I am a soul. As soon as they look at your forehead, let them see a soul sparkling, a sparkling jewel. Your forehead should light up. Does it light up? Sometimes, yeah. When they see the jewel of a snake, do you know about the jewel of a snake? There's a special kind of bracelet that comes, which is a snake, and in the forehead of the snake, usually they make it from ivory, and they have a ruby in the forehead of the snake. It's a piece of jewelry, and so it's symbolic of the body as a snake. Means it will bite you, so physical attraction, and a jewel is the soul. So when they see that jewel in the forehead of a snake, the attention doesn't go to the snake, but it goes to the jewel. So when they see in you the eternal sparkling jewel, they will not become conscious of the body. They will not know what color your body is. They will not know whether you're a male or a female. That's possible. Their attention will automatically go to the soul. Teachers are instruments for such service. To remind those who have forgotten is your service. You are powerful, aren't you? Or are you sometimes afraid? If the teacher becomes afraid, what would happen to the students? Teacher means leader. To be a teacher means to be an embodiment of remembrance and an embodiment of power constantly and naturally. Just as Brahma was in front, in the same way you teachers are also in front, aren't you? To be an instrument means to be in front. Is that okay? Can you be in front? That means you're a target. There's also a side scene. You had the courage to surrender yourselves to do service, and you became powerful. You came into your power. So then what is this awareness? This is the fortune of renunciation. You have already renounced. So what is the big deal about the fortune? You have renounced, but that renunciation wasn't renunciation because you got a great deal. What did you give up and what did you get instead? What did you renounce? You simply put on a white sari, that's all. And you became even more beautiful. You became angels. And angels always with wings. A white sari has a wing. So what else do you need? You gave up some foods and drinks, but even doctors nowadays tell you not to eat too much. Eat little and eat simple food. These days, even doctors do not let you eat. So what else did you give up? You gave up wearing jewelry. These days, thieves chase after someone with jewelry. So it's good that you gave it up. You did a sensible thing. And this is how you received the multi-million-fold fortune of renunciation. Acha. Bab Dada is now remembering those in Athens. So this is a science symposium. So this was, there's one lady, one sister called Drusula, and her husband, I forgot his name now, but anyway, he was pretty up there scientist in Athens. And so they created a symposium about science and consciousness in 1990. And Brother Anthony was very much part of that. Brother Neville went as a delegate. And this was where the knowledge of the soul was presented in a scientific environment. So it was important. So they are remembering Baba a great deal. Whenever a big program takes place, you definitely remember the unlimited Father and the unlimited family for this unlimited task. All the children who have gone there are courageous, and the courage of those who become instruments makes the task elevated and unshakable. The love of the Father and the pure feelings and good wishes of the special souls are with the children. The intellect of the one who is called the intellect of the wise makes anyone an instrument for getting his work done. This is why just become carefree emperors, become lighthouses and might houses, and spread the vibrations of pure feelings and good wishes. Bapdada is giving personal love and remembrance by name and speciality to each serviceable child. Acha. To the constantly powerful souls who are embodiments of remembrance, to the special souls who experience all situations as side scenes, who spread waves of remembrance everywhere, like the Father, to the Maharati children who pass with honors at a fast speed, Bapdada's love, remembrance, and namaste. Then Avyakt Bapdada is meeting a group from Delhi zone. Are you always happy seeing your fortune? Do you constantly sing the song Va Va? Have the songs of the cries of distress finished? Or do waves of sorrow still come sometimes? You have become detached from the world of sorrow and loving to the Father. Therefore, waves of sorrow cannot touch you. Even if you are living with your family for the sake of doing service, you are living as a lotus. A lotus flower doesn't leave the muddy water. It is in the muddy water, but it is detached. So have you become so detached? The sign of being detached is you will be loving to the Father to the extent that you are detached. Right? Your focus of attention only goes on one thing, right? Either this or that. So if you're detached from the family, then you can focus on Baba. But you can't focus on the family and Baba at the same time. Try. You will automatically experience the Father's love, and this love of God will become a canopy of protection. Those who have a canopy of protection over them remain so safe. What can anyone do to those who are protected by God's canopy of protection? So maintain your spiritual pride of staying under the canopy of God's protection. You do not have arrogance, but spiritual intoxication. Sometimes people get those two mixed up. You may have your pride of soul consciousness, and you may be in your self-respect, and someone will accuse you of ego, but they haven't understood. That happens. If there is body consciousness, arrogance will come. But if you are soul conscious, there will not be arrogance, but there will be spiritual intoxication. You'll be in your pure pride. And where there is spiritual intoxication, there cannot be any obstacles. So either there is worry or spiritual intoxication. I heard yesterday an interesting definition of ego, which is overdressed insecurity. Quite good, huh? So it's fake. The two cannot exist together, either worry or spiritual intoxication. You can't have both. Bap Dada is bound to provide the best dal and roti for you. He will not give you 36 varieties of food every day, but you will definitely receive the dal and roti of love. This is guaranteed because no one can prevent it. So what do you have to worry about? People in the world have to worry about providing for themselves and the generations that come after them. But neither will you starve, nor will the generations that come after you. What else do you need? Do you need a Dunlop pillow? In those days, people used to like Dunlop pillows. Nowadays, I don't think people are much into Dunlop pillows, but then, will you be able to sleep with a Dunlop pillow and a bed if you have the sleep of worry? If you're worried, even if you have a very comfortable bed, nice comforter and everything, you still won't sleep. But if you're carefree, then even if you have to sleep on the floor, you will be able to fall asleep. Make your arms into your pillow and you will be able to sleep. Where there is love, even dry chapatis will feel like 36 varieties of food. Therefore, be a carefree emperor. The sovereignty of remaining carefree is the greatest. The greatest sovereignty of all sovereignties. If you put on your crown and sit down on the throne and continue to worry, then is that a throne or a pyre, a fire, right? God, the bestower of fortune, has drawn a line of elevated fortune on each of your foreheads. You have become carefree emperors. You are not emperors with that hat or chair. Hat means a position. You are carefree emperors. Do you have any worries? Any worries? Huh? Do you worry about your grandchildren? Do you worry about your grandchildren? No. You have benefited, so they too will definitely benefit. Therefore, constantly continue to see the line of elevated fortune on your foreheads. Va, my elevated godly fortune. It is not a fortune of wealth, it is a godly fortune. Compared with this, the fortune of wealth is nothing. It will follow you like a shadow automatically follows you. Or do you ask your shadow to follow you? All those things are shadows, but this is godly fortune. Godly fortune. Constantly keep this intoxication. If you're going to attain something, it has to be something permanent, not worth it otherwise. Since the Father and souls are imperishable, why should the attainment be perishable? The attainment also has to be imperishable. Brahman life is a life of happiness. To eat in happiness, to live in happiness, to speak in happiness, and do all the work in happiness. As soon as you wake up and open your eyes, you experience happiness. At night, when you close your eyes, you go to sleep comfortably in happiness. This is Brahmin life, right? Are you having that? In a personal meeting with Bap Dada, and blessings from the family by being obedient. So this is Gayatri Ben Modi's family. So this is not Narendra Modi, it's a different Modi. So Gayatri Ben Modi was the matriarch of a wealthy family in India, Delhi. And she became BK, quite elderly lady now. She left the body quite some time ago. And there's one house a little bit up the road towards, what do you call it, where all the buses gather up there. And she bought that big property and gave to BKs. And so that's part of Panda Bhavan now, kind of. So Bap Dada is very pleased seeing one thing about this family. What is that one thing? It is an obedient family. Obedient means following all the recommendations of Baba. You have come here from so far, haven't you? You receive these blessings too when you follow the orders of anyone. If one person says something and the other accepts it, there is great happiness. In an extended family, to have that cooperation and harmony is special. Blessings emerge for one another from the heart. When someone is a good friend or brother, he says, this one is very good. There are blessings, aren't there? To say Haji or to follow their recommendations brings you incognito blessings. And these blessings help you at the time of need. At that time, you don't realize. It feels like it's okay at that time. It happened and it feels natural, but these incognito blessings help the soul at the time of need. These are accumulated, and this is why Bap Dada is pleased to see this. No matter what work you have come here for, but you have come at least. So remember, no matter what reason you have come to God's place, whether it is just to see it or to know about it, at least you have put your foot here and you accumulate fruit for that too. This is not a small fortune. So for a very significant family to have a significant member of the family come into Gyan is a big deal. They don't normally allow it, but they did, and they came. So it was a very big thing. You will experience this fortune as you progress further. At that time, you will experience yourself to be very fortunate that at least you put your foot here due to whatever reason, even though you will not be aware of it yet. At the moment, you must be thinking, we don't know what this is. But the Father knows that knowingly or unknowingly, your fortune is accumulated. At the right time, you will become aware of it and it will be useful. Acha. So then Sister Chakradhari gave love and remembrance of the brothers and sisters from Russia. So Baba said, it is good, you have succeeded well in a short time, and very good thirsty souls have emerged. Their love has reached the Father. Write to them and give them Baba's love and remembrance and tell them that Bapdada's love is giving everyone cooperation and enabling them to move forward. The service is good. Continue to increase it. The blessing is, may you constantly continue to move forward using the right method of making effort and of becoming an embodiment of total success. The right method of making effort is to transform all forms of mind into just one, my Baba. Just have this awareness. You may forget everything else, but do not forget my Baba. You do not have to make effort to remember something that is mine. It is remembered automatically. And when you say my Baba from the heart, your yoga becomes powerful. Constantly continue to move forward using this easy method, and you will become an embodiment of success. And the slogan is, in order to become a conqueror of Maya, as well as love, also make the foundation of knowledge strong. So have powerful love and powerful knowledge. Om Shanti. Experience the stage of being merged in love. Remain merged in love in your actions, words, relationships, and connections, in your love, awareness, and your stage. To the extent that one is loving, accordingly, that one will be able to remain merged in love. You children now stay merged in the Father's love and easily make others like yourselves and like the Father. Om Shanti. So the essence, stay aware, right? So does anybody have any questions, comments, anything you would like to share? Yes, please. You want to take the microphone?
I was just curious about what is that? What is that?
It's called
So what kind of pillow was Baba talking about?
Do you remember? You remember when this is a byproduct of the petrochemical industry, and in previous times, pillows would be filled with feathers or kapok. Do you know kapok? So there's a kapok tree which has very fluffy seeds. And so they would take the seeds out, keep the fluff, and it would be the filling. So those were the two possibilities, because in those days, everything that people made had to be made using items that came from nature. But then with the development of the petrochemical industry, they started to create other products. And one of the early ones was foam rubber. And this was created by the Dunlop company. The Dunlop, they make tires, right? So tires are also a byproduct of the petrochemical industry, because it used to be rubber tires from rubber trees. Well, that's very expensive. You know, have you seen how you get rubber from a rubber tree? It's drop by drop by drop. So they will cut the tree and then they put a little coconut shell and they will fill it up with rubber, which comes out white, and then it turns black from the rubber tree. And then they have these rubber plantations in places like Malaysia, had a lot of rubber trees. And, you know, this explosion of population and the development of the middle classes and all this created this thing which we know of as the American dream in the 1940s, right? After the Second World War. So the society changed drastically after the Second World War. And in India, it was very, very poor after partition, which was 1947. And so there was a great interest in these new products that were being developed in the West. And one of them was Dunlop pillows. So they were considered very comfortable. They were very comfortable. So that was that. And it became a symbol for different varieties of comfort. Because if you live in poverty, it's very uncomfortable. You don't have the basic means. You don't have running water, you don't have electricity, you don't have a bed, you don't have proper clothes, you don't have enough. And so obviously people wanted to have basic comfort. And yet they also had to try to live without comfort. And in BK's, in the early days, it was very basic. You know, when I first came to Madhuban, if you wanted to have a bath, you had to take your metal bucket to a place where you could get 1/3 of the bucket of hot water, and the rest you had to fill up with cold water. And then you would go into a little place where you could have your bath without light. So you were lucky if you had a candle, and then you would take a bath in that. Or sometimes your bucket was a paint can, and that would be what you'd get for your bath. So it was difficult, you know. And in early days, we would sleep on the floor, and you had just a cloth with a thin, like blanket under it, and so it was hard. And so some people found it difficult to sleep on hard floor. And sometimes the floor was concrete. They started building with concrete in those days, so it was cold. And, but it is interesting that if you see how the Baba's places are now, you can't really imagine how basic it was in the beginning. And that includes here in San Francisco. It was very, very basic. We used to go to the supermarkets when they were closed, and we would find the fruit boxes. They were made of wood, right? the fruit boxes. So we would collect those and we would make furniture from them. And we used to eat, Chandraben was very clever. We would eat for 10 cents a day. And we found a way to eat like that. And, but as Baba mentioned, in the, if you have love, if you have this spiritual intoxication, you enjoy. You don't feel that it's hard. You feel you're doing Baba's work, you're creating heaven, you're doing what you have to do. And so you enjoy. And one day we got for $1 a basket full of peaches, because we were living on inadequate nourishment. So we got this basket full of peaches for $1, and we became very healthy from that basket full of peaches because it had all the nourishment and the nutrients needed. And so we thought, wow, this is great. It tasted really good. So, I mean, all of these things started very, very simple and basic, and it grows and grows and grows slowly but surely into something that all of the original, very basic things, you can't even remember them unless it comes up, you know? So it's like that. And now there is good wealth around the world, but I think now there are situations arising where the wealth is quite eroding or eroded. And so people will go into a less wealthy lifestyle. And so still you have to manage. And so Baba makes us live in such a way that if you have it, it's good. If you don't have it, it's good. Easy. Okay. Can you just make it so that I can see the top one? Yeah. Okay, there's a comment. I try to stay aware of being a powerful, peaceful, blissful, pure soul, remembering Shiv Baba, and things of the world constantly come in different ways, taking me away. I wish I could stay in the awareness, but it is impossible. How do I stay detached all the time? Well, this is very realistic. And it is, of course, what happens not just to you, but to most people. And the thing to do is not to use this word constant. You remember I was mentioning earlier about the difference between a religious approach and a spiritual approach. So if you're looking at it from a religious approach, then your interpretation of constant is all the time without any break at all, which is not possible. And so you would always feel that you're not doing it and that maybe other people are doing it, but you're not. So it diminishes you, makes you feel less than. And so it is better to look at it in a different way, which is that again and again, you remember, and there are breaks in between. It is rather like, I don't know if you know this, but some time ago, they used to make pictures for people to join the dots. And now they have the expression join the dots, but they don't have the thing that expression came from. And so you just put dots, moments of being aware, and maybe the time gap between those moments is long, Well, your spiritual effort is to reduce the time gap between the moments of awareness until ultimately it becomes a continuous stream. But if you try and make it constant from now or from whenever, you'll always get disappointed in yourself, and that will disempower you. So it's not a very effective way to make effort. But just remember, oh yes, yes, this is what I am. You forget, and you remember. He said it's a game of remembering and forgetting. But why do we have a Murli every day? To remind us. We already know the knowledge. But you have a Murli every day because it reminds you, it puts you in that mentality. It gives you extra points that maybe you haven't thought of because the knowledge is vast. And it gives you inspiration. It gives you a period of time. Daddy Genki used to say that if you come to class and you sit and listen to the Murli for an hour, that 1 hour will impact your 23 other hours of the day. And also why we teach, we give knowledge to other people, teach the class, or have discussions, or do service, or anything like that. It helps us to go into that stage of consciousness. It reminds us. And so you're getting an increased number of times where you're in that awareness. Because when you talk about it, you go into it, right? And if you're away from that, then you're not in it. So you just keep adding more and more dots to your picture of yourself. And this is called increasing your remembrance, increasing your time of being soul conscious. So this is the way that Baba has taught us. But if you use this word constant and all the time, you're using superlatives. And you're putting yourself into a situation where you will always be disappointed with yourself. And this weakens you. And that's not how Baba's teaching. But it's very normal in the Lokik world, especially in the religious world, to be in this superlative thing. But the spiritual world is much more grounded and realistic. So I would recommend you do that. And there's another one. Yes, thank you for the memories of the early days. The early days are good. You remember your early days when you come in Gyan, because Baba always gives us a nice honeymoon. And you enjoy. Especially if you come in Gyan when you're pretty young, you know, it's all an adventure and full of intoxication. So, yeah. So it reminds us how content and happy you were in the early days. Yeah. And you can make these days content and happy by remembering those days. There's one song, Don't Forget the Days of Your Childhood. It's about that. Okay, so have a wonderful day and be in your awareness, who you are, what you are, and performing in this drama. Om Shanti.